most common question that gets asked time and time again by my clients is what they should be focusing their marketing energy on. And when we're talking about focusing our marketing energy, this would be our emails that we're sending out, any sort of posts that are going up on socials, podcast content, long form content, whatever it might be. What are you saying to your audience and at what time? And this is really, really common, especially when you are between launches or you don't really have anything that you are pushing right now. You haven't really had anything new coming out in a while. You're getting bored of seeing the same thing over again, or you just feel like you're always selling or you're never selling, whatever it is. Figuring out that balance of what kind of content you are putting out is really tricky. So, I'm going to introduce you today to the 3-month marketing strategy. And the 3-month marketing strategy is a cyclical system that you can use in your business. And you can repeat this 4 times a year. So, it's a quarterly system, but I don't call it that because you don't have to go by the exact quarters. So, let's say you wanted to start it now. You could run your first 3-month cycle to be December, January, and February, but Q1 obviously is January, February, March. So while it does work out nicely that you can do it for each quarter, it doesn't have to be that way, and you don't need to limit yourself to that way. The other magical thing about the 3-month marketing strategy is that it is totally up to you which phase you are going to start in. And in order to decide which phase that you're going to start in, you need to be thinking about what's currently going on in your business. So if you have currently been subconsciously, consciously, whatever it is, already working on one of these phases, then you're going to go ahead and progress into the next one. So the order matters, but where you start doesn't. And this is getting a little too obscure to follow along to. So let's get specific and talk about what these 3 phases are in the 3-phase marketing cycle. So I'll tell you them in order as if you were starting completely fresh. But again, feel free to jump into whatever one makes the most sense for your business and then continue on through the cycle from there. We're working with months here. So you're going to stay in each of these phases for about a month. Does it need to be exactly a month? No, you don't need to do this from the 1st to the 30th of every single month. It's just a guideline for how much time you're going to spend in each phase in order to help you make marketing, make content creation as simple as possible. It's possible that you're going to want to expedite it and only do 3 weeks per phase, whatever, make it work for you. There are no rules in business. It is supposed to work for you. Your systems, your strategies, they should work for you, not against you. So you need to do what makes the most sense for you in your business. If we are starting from totally scratch, we don't really have a marketing strategy, everything's a little bit of a disaster, we've been posting whatever we want, whenever we want, then just start with phase 1, which is lead generation. So the 3 phases we're going to work through, 1 is lead generation, 2 is nurturing, which is your authority building, and then 3 is a sales cycle. Let me just from the top say, this does not mean you're only making money 1 out of every 3 months. Sales is the focus in that 3rd month, but it doesn't mean that you are not selling throughout the other months. Hear me out. The other months are going to be for the big picture of your business. It's about stacking all the different parts of your funnel, making sure that everything's running smoothly, that you are reaching people in your audience no matter what phase they are of their client journey. But you can still be talking about your offers because people will be ready to jump in. You can still be selling on stories. You can still be having those one-to-one direct sales conversations. And in fact, you should be. But your forward-facing front of your business should be 75% of whatever phase you are in. So when you're thinking of, okay, what is the intention of my post today? What is the intention of my weekly email? You want it to align with whatever phase of your 3-month marketing cycle that you are in. When you're in that lead generation phase, this is when you're like, you know what? I haven't gotten any new friends onto my email list in a while. My audience has been kind of at a plateau. I need to get some freshness in here. So all of your content is going to be focused on that top of the funnel part of your business. So these are going to be the things that are attracting your ideal client. And in order to create really effective top of the funnel content, you need to not be thinking about you and your business at all. You need to be thinking about your ideal client, what they like, how they engage on socials, what they find funny, what resonates with them, and leaning into that. The more shareable your content is, the more eyes you're going to get on your content. And your call to action during this time is going to be to follow you or to jump on your email list. So this is a great time to be talking about your freebies, to be really pushing that ability to opt in to your mailing list. It's a great time to be sharing memes or recreating, remixing reels that are funny, that are going to get people to share them with people in your ideal client world. So let's say that your ideal client is someone who is new to business, maybe years 1 to 5, and they are contemplating hiring a VA for the first time. So instead of talking about how much a VA is going to save them time and the kind of tasks that you do and all of this, you're going to be thinking about, okay, what does someone who's in year 1 to 5 of their business, who should get a VA, so they're really busy, they've got a lot going on, what is catching their eye? What are they finding interesting? Because they're not likely going to share a reel or a carousel that describes your services, but they are likely to share a funny reel about how chaotic life is as a mom in year 1 to 5 of business. Or they are likely to share something that talks about imposter syndrome, or they are likely to share something that talks about the reminders they need to know, whatever it is. Shareable content likely has not much to do with your business in and of itself, and everything to do with your ideal client and their world. So the easiest way to think about it is it's not about your business, it's about their business, their personal business, their professional business, whatever it is. Our lead generation content is really focused on the big umbrella of anyone who would be a good fit for your business, and how do you rein them in? How do you bring them in? Once you have gotten in a new pool of potential clients into your world, now it's time to warm them up, to connect with them, to nurture them. And we enter into our nurture phase of the 3-month marketing cycle. So we've already brought in our new leads, and now we're jumping into nurturing them. If you feel like what you've been doing for the past little while is lead generation, maybe you had a viral reel and you got a bunch of new people in, maybe you've been doing a big freebie push, maybe you have been focusing on that more funny, relatable content, then you can go ahead and start right here in phase 2, the nurture phase. Again, where you start in this cycle is not important. What's important is that you progress through it cyclically. So if you're starting here at phase 2, amazing. After this, you're going to go into 3, and then you're going to go back to step 1, phase 1. So in the nurture phase of our business, this is when you are focusing on a couple key things. Number 1 being authority building. Authority building is the content that you put out that establishes yourself as a go-to source, as an expert, as someone that can be trusted. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this, through sharing testimonials, client success, but also just speaking assertively and sharing things that you deeply believe. And these are going to be things that they don't need to be super polarizing or controversial. I know that's like kind of trendy to do in order to get more views and to get more attention and to go viral and blah, 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 to be controversial. Personally, I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't need attention for the sake of attention. I want to catch the attention of my ideal clients. So when you are building authority, all that you're doing is sharing things that you deeply know to be true and that your audience needs to hear to believe more in you. So let's say you are a brand photographer and you need to be establishing authority in your nurture phase. So you can be sharing client work, of course, but client work is so much more powerful when accompanied by a client testimonial that's talking about not only the results in their business, but also the experience with you. Because in the authority building, connecting, nurturing phase, you want to be distinguishing not why they need that service, but why they need that service from you. And that is a big differentiator here. It is all fine and good to talk about how amazing brand photography is, but you don't want to be doing all of this educating and all this nurturing, and then they're going to go with Sally down the street because Sally did a better job of selling herself than you. So not only are you educating what you do and why it's beneficial, but specifically why you are the one that they need to go with. So talking about client experience, as well as client results is really important here. Talking about how you work, talking about the things that you believe, the core pillars of your business and the way that you execute your services is going to be really important here. You want your clients to understand exactly what it's like to work with you and the kind of person that you are. And you're going to do this by showing your personality. You're going to do this by sharing your beliefs, and you're going to do this by speaking confidently and assertively. This is also a prime opportunity to really double down on your brand story. And your brand story is something that you should be talking about in every single phase, at least once a week in your business. But it is also something that you're going to talk about more than once a week in this connecting nurture phase. And your brand story does not need to be some super long, stressful, detailed account of your life. Your brand story is aspects of your personal life and your business journey that are going to directly relate to your ideal customer. And we will do an episode on this at a later time so that you can really deep dive into your brand story. I promise that you have one. If you're thinking right now, my life is not that interesting, my business story is not that interesting, I don't have a brand story, you do. We just need to uncover it. But for now, we're just going to be thinking about your business journey, your personal journey, your why. Why is it that you're doing what you're doing? This is really important to be talking about in that nurture phase. Your nurture phase is going to be the one that maybe feels the most challenging for content creation because you feel like you're repeating yourself. But there is no limit to the amount of times you can share a testimonial. There is no expiration date on client wins that you can share. Your brand story can be tweaked and reshared and reshored the exact same story over and over again. People are not going to be getting bored. The thing is, they are thinking about your content for the 2.47 seconds that they see it when it comes across their feed, and you are thinking about it 24/7. So to you, things seem boring and repetitive that to your ideal customer, they're like, oh, okay, interesting. And they move on. And maybe they see the exact same thing again. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember she was talking about that. Okay. And they move on. So that is an example of something that I say all the time in my nurture phases. You're thinking about your business 24/7. Your ideal client is thinking about it for the 2.47 seconds that they engage with your content and then move on. That's an example of one of those things that I deeply believe and say all the time that's going to come up time and time again throughout my nurture phase. So once you have done a good job of nurturing your people, they've gotten some extra value from you, they have seen client success from you, they've gotten to know who you are, how you work, your personality. Now we're going to move them into the sales sequence, the sales phase of your journey. So if you have not sold in a long time, and you have been doing all of these value and these testimonials, and you're kind of just like hoping people magically go to the link in your bio and purchase something from you, then you're going to start directly in the sales push. If you have not done consistent posting or gotten any new people in or been doing a lot of nurturing, then you should not start in this phase because it's not going to pan out for you the way that you want it to. Even if in your mind, you're like, I need a cash injection, I need to be selling more. If you have not set yourself up for success with the previous two phases, then you're going to be doing yourself a disservice. And it's better to go back a few phases, even if you're going to expedite them and do a solid week, a solid 2 weeks before moving into this phase. Just be a little bit more patient with yourself and know that it is worth it to set yourself up for success by moving through the phases in the order that you need to move through them. So your sales push is not going to mean, okay, I am here in my sales push. Day one of the sales cycle, I am like, buy from me. Here's all of the amazing things. Expiring bonus. Buy, 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 buy. You cannot do that for a full month. That is exhausting for you. It is exhausting for your audience. And it's just like jumping the gun a little bit too much. You know, we need some sales foreplay here. Is that inappropriate? I don't know. I'm going to go with it. So your sales cycle is going to include the pre-launch, the explanation, the hype building, all of this, the actual sales part of your marketing strategy, and then the downsell section. So when you are starting to get ready to sell, those 1 to 2 weeks before that, you're really going to be focusing on problem awareness, letting people know about what it is, the problem that you're solving, the transformation, the vision of success, getting really specific about this is the result. This is what you're going to get. This is what's coming. And I know you want it because of these problems that you're having right now. And the more clear you can get with the visuals of how they're feeling right now and how they're going to feel after, the better. That portion, 1 to 2 weeks, it's really problem awareness, letting them know that you see them, you hear them, you're on their team, and you have a solution coming. Then you're going to move into the actual sales component. Whether you have an evergreen offer, you're doing an open and closed cart, whatever it may be, in this designated amount of time is when you're going to be really pushing and talking to all the different buyer types that are out there in your audience. So you're going to be talking about the emotions, and you're going to be sharing all of the details in your offer and going through the FAQs and going through the transformation and really thinking about all the different ways that people buy things. And you are going to talk about it over and over and over and over and over again until you are blue in the face. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't talk about this anymore. No one's biting. You're panicking. You're like, I've talked about it for 3 days. No one's made a purchase, whatever it is. People are buying later and later into the buying cycle. And that's because there is so much spending going on. People are trying to be more conscious of their spending. They've been burned a lot in the online space, whatever it is. We want to be patient, and we want to really see sales as education. And you need to give people enough information that they can make an informed buying decision. All you're doing when you're selling is providing them with information. You are not standing there forcing someone to pull out their credit card and give you money. You are just saying, here's what I offer you. Here's what you're going to get. But you're doing them a disservice if you don't thoroughly explain what it is that you're offering in a way that connects with them. It is okay if they ultimately decide they don't want to buy, totally fine. But we need to give them enough information that they know for sure, one way or another, what their decision is going to be. So you're selling, you're talking about all the different buyer types, you're showing up, maybe you've got a bonus, maybe you've got some other urgency there, whatever it is. At the end of your pre-planned cycle of selling, you're going to go into your downsell. And this is because you have just put in so much effort explaining the value, explaining the benefits, getting people listening to you when you're talking about what it is you're offering. For one reason or another, it wasn't the right time for them, but we can offer them something else. And your downsell is going to be something that is less expensive, but related to whatever it is you just went through a sales push for, as kind of a, okay, that wasn't right, but you can have this. It's going to be a lower cost. It's going to be a lower time investment, whatever it is. You have already put in so much work priming them to buy. We want to take advantage of that by being like, okay, that's totally cool. How about this instead? And you offer them an easy yes. And it's just a way to get a little bit of an extra bump, bring some more people into your world, and still serve your ideal client in some way. Once you're done with your sales cycle, you guessed it, we're going right back up to the top and heading into your lead generation cycle. And this is because we are giving a break. We're giving some marketing breathing room after doing a big sales pitch. We're going to be constantly thinking about bringing in new people, new potential clients into our business, and also spicing up the kind of content that you're making so that you're not getting bored and you're not getting frustrated with your own marketing strategy. You start right back up at lead generation, then you move into the nurture, and you move back into sales again. This is your 3-month marketing strategy. And it is one that I really want to encourage you to embrace and start figuring out where you need to start for your next phase. You can work backwards if you know you want to be doing a launch in January. Okay, then that means that December needs to be nurture. And right now you're in a lead generation phase. Whatever it is, think about what you've been doing, what's coming down the pipeline, and where you need to start and focus your marketing efforts right away.